Hello, folks. Just drink a little bit of water there. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope that you're walking with an awareness that you are at every moment loved with a perfect, unwavering, unsurpassable, incomprehensible, altogether beautiful love. And if you get that on the inside, you're going to have a good day. That's the essence of having a good day. Well, we're talking about free will. Yesterday, whenever the previous vlog was, I noted how free will comes either from God's will or from wills other than God. But since God's all good, it can't come from God. And since the God revealed in Jesus Christ doesn't will evil, it can't come from God. In fact, Jesus, every time he confronts sickness, disease, or infirmities of some sort, he and the gospel authors diagnose that as coming from the realm of Satan. And so he reveals that God is unequivocally, unambiguously opposed to evil, doesn't will evil. So what about what's called natural evil? Natural evil is like mudslides and earthquakes, things that come from nature that cause pain and suffering, or animal suffering and hurricanes and all of that kind of stuff. It's what philosophers call natural evil. Well, as I just said, Jesus, whenever he confronts sickness, disease, scoliosis, blindness, deformities, those are all things that we would call natural evil. They're not things that humans do to one another. The things gone wrong in nature. When he confronts that, he consistently assesses that it's coming from the domain of Satan. You see, human beings aren't the only free agents that populate the cosmos. According to the Bible and the church tradition, there are angelic beings. There's Satan, and then principalities and powers and dominions and authorities, these different categories that Paul talks about. And there's these low-grade minions in Satan's kingdom called demons. And all of these agents have possessed some say-so, possessed some free will. And they also affect what comes to pass. And according to the apocalyptic worldview in which the New Testament was birthed, it was understood that in the same way that human beings are giving a domain of say-so over the earth to affect what comes to pass, so also there are angelic beings that are giving some say-so over different levels of and aspects of creation. And just like humans, we can use our free will either in line with God's purposes or against God's purposes. That's what it means to have free will. We're created to bring about his will on earth as it is in heaven by aligning our will with his will, by aligning our say-so with his say-so. But we can choose to go against it if we wish. The same is true for the angelic realm. The very fact that they rebelled, we know that they rebelled, shows that they had the freedom to rebel. They possess something like free will. And so evils that can't be attributed to humans, I submit to you, are traceable back to the will of angelic beings, whether Satan, principalities and powers, or low-grade demons. This was a standard view of the early church. You read the early church fathers, they consistently attribute quote-unquote natural evil, and I always put natural in quotes when I'm talking about natural evil because I don't think there's anything natural about it. It's what happens when creation is unnatural. But they all assess the origin of natural evils to demons and principalities and powers and to Satan. It's only later on in church tradition when they begin to, after Augustine, have this view that God controls everything, that people no longer appealed to these angelic beings to explain natural evil. They became penultimate explanations because the ultimate explanation was always God wills it. God wills everything. I submit to you that the better view is the view of the early church. You read Origen or Athenagoras or Tatian, they all are very astute on this. I have, by the way, a chapter on this in the Satan and the Problem of Evil. In fact, I have a chapter on the early church fathers in Satan and the Problem of Evil, and then I have another 2 chapters just on natural evil. So you may want to check that out if you're into some reading. And this is an earlier edition. That's the gross picture I talked about a few video blogs ago. The newer edition doesn't have the gross picture in it. So that would be my... Oh, and here's another thing I want to tell you about. I feel like I'm kind of doing a little advertisement here, but give me a break. You might like it. I really don't make much money off it anyway, so... So this is Creation Made Free by J. Ord. The Open Theology Engaging Science. It's a volume that came out of this conference that I participated in a couple of years ago, where they take openist theologians and some scientists and sat us down together and we talked about things, and it was really a cool 3-week conference. But out of that we wrote some articles, and I have an article in here called Evolution as Cosmic Conflict. And what I do there is I try to account for pre-humanoid suffering, animal suffering, before human beings by this account of spiritual warfare. It's one of the major issues that some philosophers and theologians deal with. How do you explain evil in the creation? And I regard animal suffering as evil. Not everyone does, but I certainly do. But how do you explain that if all sin was supposed to just come into the world through human beings? Well, since on the basis of the fact that Jesus diagnosed sickness and disease and all forms of suffering is coming from the demonic realm, I suggest that it's the most plausible explanation is to say that they were active in the creation and on earth before human beings got here. And I see the evolutionary process as a warfare sort of between God creating and the principalities and powers corrupting, then God bringing good out of evil, and then they corrupt and God bringing good out of evil. So with the evolutionary tree, sort of like a shimmy between good and evil, and God finally arriving at the goal he's always had, which was human beings. But he does it by outsmarting, as he always does, his opponents. Well, think about it. It's worth thinking about at least. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video blog. Until then, always remember you're in the image of God. You're loved by God. Jesus died for you. And everything else is gravy. God bless. See you later.